What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to a third episode of MetaShift. I know it's been a while. I was away on vacation and didn't really want to cross patch note data. Like week 5 was on 7.3, as it says here, and week 6 and 7 was on 7.4, and I didn't really want to mess up that data, as well as the meta was kind of stale. So I kind of wanted to give it a break because I would have been discussing the same thing, which is like ADC was Jhin and Varus. Still is. A little different though now, which is nice. But not to give myself, too many excuses. But those are the reasons. And also, I'm going to be changing this up to a more of a podcast style where less cuts, less me looking at notes, and more just freelancing it because I feel like it flows better. I mean, you might get a little more ums and likes in my sentences, but everything will be a little more refreshing, in my opinion. And so, I don't know, I won't be staring at my notes all the time. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. Let's talk about bans for week 6 and 7. Firstly, LeBlanc, Varus, Malzahar, these guys are still banned. Actually, pardon me, Varus actually wasn't banned previously. He was just played every game. Now he's getting banned, which is good. Not really. I mean, it's still really stale. I mean, in week 7 he was permabanned alongside LeBlanc. That's kind of ridiculous. He didn't get played once. And this is to be expected. I mean, LeBlanc and Varus are just absolutely outrageous right now, but in the upcoming patch, which we have coming through, LeBlanc just got absolutely hammered, and it's going to be actually really refreshing. I'm excited to see this week's games tomorrow, first couple of games, and I think it's going to be really nice taking out. Well, Varus isn't going to get taken out per se. His changes weren't big enough. I don't want to dive this into a patch notes breakdown, but they weren't big enough to cancel him out completely. But I don't think he's going to be banned as much. But the LeBlanc, change is pretty significant. Anyways, for this week, LeBlanc, Varus, Malzahar, Shen, Ryze, and Camille round up our top bans, with LeBlanc and Varus being permabanned in week 7, Malzahar being still a constant problem. I don't know what Riot part of me is gonna do. They're gonna have to nerf his ultimate or something, or just more of his damage. Shen is kind of the interesting ban in my opinion because he's been good since season 1. Like his ultimate has been a problem since season 1. So it's weird that it's taken him kind of this long to be a part of the meta. Like so much part of it, being banned 36 times. Ryze being banned 31 times. I mean, Ryze is getting nerfs in the next patch, so that's pretty nice. But the thing is with Ryze, like he's been reworked 6 times, and the thing is, he got reworked previously for being strong in the LCS and not strong in solo queue. And right now he has one of the lowest win rates in solo queue, and he's going to still be strong even after these nerfs. So I don't know if we're going to see a 7th rework with Ryze. I'm honestly not sure, but he's kind of a problem, and I don't know how they're going to change him. Camille still needs changes, like in almost all areas of her kit. Like her gap close is just too short of a cooldown. I haven't played much Camille, but I can tell you from like the 2 games I've played, it's still a really short cooldown for how much she is capable of gap closing. So they're gonna need to fix that. But these, like Malzahar, Ryze is getting nerfed. So Malzahar and Camille are the champs that they're gonna need to focus on in terms of up and coming patches. But LeBlanc, see you later with that W change. Absolutely hammered into the ground. Some other noteworthy bans is Syndra, Rumble, Rengar, and Graves. Syndra's banned 21, Rumble 19, and Rengar and Graves being banned 18 out of the 51 games. Pretty interesting, especially Rumble and Renekton, who were played quite a few times this week. It's really nice to see the non-damage, boring top laners that we generally see. So I'm always happy. I mean, Rumble's been permaplayed since he was brought into the game. I'm not opposed to seeing him play. He's a cool champ to see in the game, especially Renekton. The Croc. Come on. Like, when did we actually expect to see this guy being played? And now he is being played quite a few times in the LCS. So, like, what's this? A throwback to like season 3? Maybe I'm delusional. It might have been played a little bit before that, but it feels like it's been a long time. And yeah, those are the top bans. There's quite a few other bans. Like, there's some Ari got banned 10 times this week. Pretty interesting, seeing as she was just a nobody pick out of nowhere. But let's dive into the top lane. And starting out, we have Nautilus, Rumble, and Renekton, who are our top picks for this week. Nautilus being picked 18, Rumble 18, and Renekton 16. It should be noted that Rumble and Renekton are both banned 19 times for Rumble and 13 for Renekton. And then the other 3 that rounded the top lane were Camille, Shen, and Poppy. And as we know, Camille and Shen were pretty much a very heavy ban. And Poppy's just there for that W counter and ult away capabilities. So not too much changes apart from the Renekton, which is nice to see him back. Like I said, being able to press W and auto attack is a difficult thing. So you can see why he's being played. He's a good off tank, provides good damage. It's Renekton. This is throwback. It's good to see him. Rumble, good counter, being able to be strong in lane with the Flame Spitter to a lot of champions. And yeah, I don't know what they're going to do at the top lane. I think it's in a pretty good spot right now. We're not seeing a lot of diversity per se, but there's a decent champ pool that's all relatively balanced. Like, they can't really nerf Shen. Shen is, what are they going to increase his R cooldown for the 6th time? Like, I don't think that's going to do anything. Moving on to the jungle, probably the most stale lane or area, I guess, at the moment, and it's just because the jungle is really difficult to balance. Rengar and Graves are being played the most. Rengar 30 out of 51, banned 18 times, and Graves 28 and banned 18 times. And it's difficult because you need a jungle, like I've said before, with really good clear and then ganking capabilities, like we all know. But what's hard is that these, like, the jungle buffs have to be pretty specific. Like, they have to be minion damage buffs, and unless they have that already built into the kit, it's like really difficult to buff them, because if you make a small buff on them, all right, there goes Nocturne being the jungler, and now he's the new top laner because we just buffed his Q, right? 30% or something, I don't know. So it's hard to touch them without getting too strong, and then you got to nerf them when it's a full cycle again. So you kind of want to do really small changes. Like, I would really like to see Sejuani back. I mean, Sejuani has probably the strongest ultimate, at least one of them in the game with her R, but the rest of her kit is shit. So what are you going to do? They need to buff champions like that so we can see a little more diversity, because it's really boring right now. I love Graves. He's high mechanical. The E cancels, the E ultimate cancels are fun, but Kha'Zix and Lee Sin, like, I love watching Lee. He's my main. It's fun always, but it's a little stale. Elise was played 14 times, Kha'Zix 12, and Lee 9 times to round out the other 3. Yeah, I don't see much changes until the upcoming patches. So expect to see the same junglers in the next week. Mid is on fire right now. Mid is perfect, in my opinion. Orianna was played 16 times, Ahri 15, and Jace 14 as the top 3. Ahri's banned 10, like I said. Jace is banned 14. Mid is in just a really good position in terms of diversity, and just the different picks that you're capable of. Zed, Echo, Victor, Syndra, Cassio. Who else was picked? Did I say Azir? Azir. I mean, there's so many different champs, and those are just a few on the top of my head, but there's literally so many different picks you can do in the mid lane, and it is so perfect right now. I hope they don't touch anything. Like, yes, Ahri was banned 10 times and played 15, and Orianna's a safe pick that's been like that since the beginning of time, but these champs are all just fitting into the meta. They're not overly strong or anything. Jace, you could make an argument for, and Syndra, Like Syndra, Rise, yes, we know he's getting changed. Syndra's got the auto, press R. These are really small changes in comparison to everything else. Jace got nerfed. I think he's in a pretty good spot. You could give him a teensy little nerf if you wanted to, just to even things out. But overall, the lane, the mid lane is in a really good position. So please don't touch it. The LeBlanc nerf that's going to come in is going to make things really nice so we can get an extra ban in. And it's going to be good. Next week's going to be exciting. Tomorrow, anyways. Switching up, moving on, to the AD carry position. With Varus being permabanned, we get another ADC. We saw Draven. Double lift. Getting shit on. But we have Ezreal. Ezreal filled in the slot. And this is just because Ezreal has his Q, which he can farm from a distance if the lane's too aggressive for him. So he's quite a safe pick. The only problem with Ezreal is you have to be quite high mechanical. I know these guys are professional, but missing your Q is insane. The 1 second cooldown and the damage it provides is too crucial to miss. So when you're playing Ezreal, you kind of risk that going into this. That if you don't hit your Qs, you might lose the fight for your team and lose a lot of gold. So that's kind of the risk that comes into it. Jhin and Ashe. Jhin was played 25 times, Ashe 22. Ashe coming back a little more than she was played in the previous weeks. Yeah, it's just the typical ADCs. Ashe is the ultimate, and Jin's just got an amazing kit that's, even with the Deathfire Touch nerfs, he's still going to be played. Maybe throw Thunderlords on. Kate and Sivir got played 7 times. Big up from the last the other couple of weeks. And with the Varus changes coming in next week, I actually don't know if it's going to change up what we see in the bot lane, per se, because I think it's just going to change him from being permabanned. I think he's just going to get played. But we'll have to see. I haven't been playing him, but he's still played in solo queue, and he's still strong. So it'll be interesting. Moving on to support, I think it's pretty good. Like I've said before, I know we still have the problem of Karma, which is the shield dominance. Like, you can't counter shields, which we've talked about before. So she's played 51% of the time, which is insane. And I don't know, they're gonna have to nerf her shields, I think, in my opinion, to make things fair. Lulu, I said it, had to watch out for that pick, and here she is. The small buffs on her has made her quite the pick, quite versatile, has the CC, polymorph, slows, shields. She kind of provides a little bit of everything. It's a really good, versatile pick. And yeah, Malzahar is perma-picked or banned. Definitely a problem. Definitely going to need to be changed. 0.5 second nerf on his ult, maybe, can't even talk. Damage nerfs, I'm not sure. I don't play bot lane or support, so I don't know what they can change. I think the 0.5 second nerf would be nice, but he needs to be changed, just flat out. Nami, Tahm Kench, Thresh, and Braum round out the rest. At 6 and 5 games for Braum. I think, we spoke about this before. Another big change for supports, is the melees. Like, we need melee supports back. Range supports just dominate. So that would be really nice. I think just buffing. I don't think you should nerf the mage supports too hard. Just make the melee supports just a little tankier. And you should be okay. And yeah, that wraps up all the lanes. I hope you guys like the kind of more podcast vibe. I think I'm gonna maybe cut do 1 or 2 cuts. We'll see. But I know I stumble and mumble and everything on my words, but I kind of like it. It's more refreshing. I don't feel as robotic in a sense. I kind of read off my notes a little too much and just stare at them. I still stare at my data notes here, but it feels a lot nicer. So I hope that you guys were okay with that. I'm excited for this week. I think this week is going to be the best week to watch so far. I know that's pretty redundant to say, but it's going to be pretty balanced, and we're going to see lots of different bands like we've been seeing, and it's going to be good. I think the games coming up are going to be really good to see who comes out on first place. And that's everything. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.